Have you ever set a goal for yourself and then had no idea how you're going to do it? My two best friends and I decided we were going to do the Rubicon Trail, but we had no rock crawling experience. So for 4 months, we learned on beginner trails, harder trails, learned how to spot, and modified our vehicles to get ready for the king of them all, the Rubicon Trail, the most famous, grueling, and incredible rock crawling trail in the US, the namesake of our Jeeps, and the biggest challenge we'd have ever faced off-road. We started as newbies, but over the course of 3 days, we became something else entirely. This project was supported in part by Metal Cloak, a U.S. manufacturing company of the highest quality parts for your off-road vehicles, and Onyx Off-Road, the off-road mapping app we use on this trip, and the Rubicon Trail Foundation's recommended off-grid mapping software. Chris, Lance, and I have had the Rubicon Trail on our life bucket list since we all started off-roading. But not because we're rock crawlers. The Rubicon holds a unique place in our minds. It's the quintessential Jeep experience, the ultimate test of driving skills for most off-roaders, and one of the most beautiful trails in the country. So Overlander, off-roader, rock crawler labels are a bit meaningless when you try applying them to the Rubicon. But it is a tough trail, so we decided not to take it lightly. For about 6 months leading up to it, we practiced rock crawling on trails in the Idaho Waihees. While the rocks were different, the trails were very technical and we learned the limits of our respective vehicles. And most importantly, we learned how to work together as a group, driving, spotting, and recovering. So when faced with a stressful situation, we were able to stay calm. Lastly, we prepped our vehicles for the Rubicon. I was driving a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392 with a 3.5-inch Metal Cloak Game Changer suspension and Falcon shocks rolling on 38-inch Nitto Trail grapplers and 17-inch Method bead grip wheels. Chris was driving a Jeep Rubicon JKU, also with a 3.5-inch Metal Cloak Game Changer suspension and Rocksport red shocks rolling on 37-inch BFG KO2s and 17-inch Pro Comp wheels. Lastly, Lance was driving a Ford Bronco Raptor with its stock suspension and stock 37-inch BFG KO2s. And to be honest, the B-Raptor was the rig we were the most worried about. The independent front suspension gives it less flexibility on the rocks, and the Raptor is as wide as a Hummer. My 392 had full Metal Cloak skid plates underneath, but I decided to add beefed up Metal Cloak diff covers as well. Chris added an oil pan skid and new beefier Dana Spicer diff covers. Lance didn't add any type of protection whatsoever. He was intent on seeing if his stock Raptor could survive the trail. Now, we are Overlanders first, so we love sleeping in rooftop tents. However, adding weight to the roof is a terrible choice for rock crawling. It moves the center of gravity and makes your vehicle way more tippy. And the Rubicon would be the tippiest trail we'd ever done. So we decided to find the lightest possible rooftop tents on the market. I opted for the Inspired Overland Carbon Fiber rooftop tent. It weighs 80 pounds and sits really low on my Rhino Rack Pioneer platform. Chris opted for the FSR Aspen Light, a 100-pound tent with a really nice inflatable mattress mounted on his Adventure Rack Systems roof rack. And Lance had the lightest tent of all, the Inspired Overland Canvas rooftop tent that weighs in at just 76 pounds.
Okay, Lance just came over and he's actually giving me back my Inspired Overland tent that he's been using. What he doesn't know is that there's a brand new tent waiting for him here from these folks over at Inspired Overland. So I'm gonna go get something from him that he brought over and then just say, hey, I got something in the garage to show you. See how it goes.
I know that you like this tent, and so do the folks over at Inspired Overland. And so they said, hey, why don't we just send Lance a tent? So here you go, buddy. This is your brand new Inspired Overland ultralight tent from the folks over at Inspired Overland, just for you, dude. They saw your video.
So awesome.
They saw the video that we made on our winter camping trip, and they're like, oh, Lance has to have one of these things.
Thank you so much. Holy cow.
What these tents lacked in comfort and space, they made up for in weight savings. And for these three Overlanders, they were a perfect choice for the Rubicon Trail. We also packed as light as possible with supplies, and between the three of us, we decided to share as much as we could. Only one of us brought a stove, only one of us brought stuff to make coffee, and we all had the smallest refrigerators possible. From Boise, it's about a 10-hour drive to Sacramento, which is about an hour and a half from the trail, and where we'd visit the Metal Cloak headquarters to meet the guys face-to-face, get a tour of their U.S. manufacturing manufacturing facility and get some last-minute tips on the Rubicon Trail, as they are very involved with the Rubicon Trail Foundation, sponsor a section of the trail, and have more combined runs on the trail than probably any other company on the planet. After all, it's the trail they test all their parts on. After the tour, we sat down with the guys and looked at maps of the trail together. They helped us plan certain sections of the trail, gave us some amazing camping recommendations, and Mike even agreed to meet us at the trailhead and spend half the day driving with us as our guide. We then headed to the trail.
So we left it. I left at the house at 6:15 this morning, so I guess that's 14 hours or so. Not that I've been driving that whole time, but it's been a long day, so I'm tired. But I'm really excited also that we're driving up Ice House Road, so we're making this climb to get up to the Rubicon Trailhead. I just want to get there to get like into the vibe, like lock in, be there, you know, just be there before we start. So let's get there.
Our plan was to spend the night in the parking lot and hit the trail at first light.
We're at the Rubicon.
Funny, it's only like 10 o'clock here, I guess 11 o'clock our time, but man, I am tired.
So it's about, I don't know, 10 o'clock or so. And we're just getting here, getting set up. And there's somebody just coming off the trail right now. Pickup truck maybe. So it just gives you a little bit of sense for how busy this place might be. But anyway, we're just gonna have some whiskey, celebrate being here at the Rubicon, and imagining what tomorrow might bring.
So after a wee dram of bourbon, we sat down to take it all in and get ready for the day ahead.
Good morning from the Rubicon Trail. I've been waiting a long time to say that. I'm really excited. This is such a bucket list thing for me and Chris and Lance. And so I cannot wait, but I'm also a little anxious about what's gonna lie ahead. But we're gonna start rolling here in the next few minutes. We're all basically ready to go. Mike from Metal Cloak just showed up. He's gonna be our guide for the first, I don't know, few hours of the day, I think. And that'll be really nice to have someone who's done it before, just kind of like get us comfortable with it. And then we're on our own for the next 2 or 3 days. So I don't really have anything else to say. Let's just go drive the Rubicon.
So this is the Rubicon Trail in all of its glory. And we are right here. And we will be, probably today, our plan is to get through Gatekeeper, to the Bowl, and then up and over down to Buck Island. That's our initial plan, try to find some camping around Buck Island. So, you know, it looks like a lot. I think it's probably not that many miles, but it's a lot of different obstacles. V-Notch, Mud Lake, Little Sluice, that's the one we're all a little worried about. Walker Hill. I mean, anyway, can't wait to start driving some of these legendary obstacles. Your supreme expertise and yeah, I think like you going first just because you've done it before, and it'll just help give us a feel for the trail.
Okay, we'll get stacked up right at the entrance of Gatekeeper. You guys can get out, watch me go through, see my line. I'll pull up and get out and come back and help spot.
Cool. Chris, are you ready?
Yeah, ready as ever be.
I mean, you look a little stressed out, dude.
I'm a little bit nervous. I think if I wasn't a little bit nervous, then I'm probably not taking this seriously.
Should we go? Should we just leave?
Yeah.
Just drive back to Boise?
Oh, like turn tail and run?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No.
Last chance.
No. No. I think it's kind of, you know, especially for like you and me, we got the Rubicon badging. And so it'd be kind of ironic that we get to the Rubicon and then turn around and run away like, you know, scared little children.
This will be not very hard, not very challenging. Nothing will go wrong. Everyone will have a perfect time going through. That's the way.
You're doing your best to jinx this entire
just jinxed.
trip. So if something breaks, it's your fault.
Yeah, I just jinxed the whole thing.
As you come up over that little rise right there and look straight ahead, you'll see the bowl.
At this point, we were living in a dream, one that all three of us shared. And while we were all first-timers, somehow it felt like we belonged on this trail.
So I am at the start of Gatekeeper. I'll stop here and wait for you guys.
So this was Gatekeeper, our very first taste of the Rubicon Trail and the moment we've been practicing for.
So we're here at the first kind of major obstacle on the Rubicon, which is called Gatekeeper, and it's not very long, but it's a lot of, I don't know, big boulders. If you look at it too long, it looks a little intimidating, and it's exactly what it says. It's a gatekeeper. It's like your intro. It's like, welcome to varsity, you know? So we're gonna talk to Mike about it, and then we're gonna give it a shot and just get, I guess, initiated into the Rubicon. And I am seeing a few scrapes on the rocks, things of
some metal shavings right here, little aluminum.
yeah.
This section's probably about 100 yards long, and we're going to come up and over and down and some more big boulders, some little tight maneuvering, and then we'll come around, we'll come out, and then we'll be on top of the bowl.
Sweet. I'm actually really excited. This looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The definition of fun is as follows: enjoyment, amusement, or lighthearted pleasure. Nowhere in there does it say banging your Jeep around on rocks, scraping as you go. But watching Mike show us the way through Gatekeeper, we were about to learn a whole new definition of that word.
My turn. I kind of was watching Mike's line, but he's got a two-door.
I was still very much learning how to finesse Finnegan's 470 foot-pounds of torque over the rocks, and when I was in doubt, I just throttled out. But I quickly learned that each rock was different, and the same approach doesn't always work. Gatekeeper was feeling like a warning, or an initiation, or for others maybe, a red carpet for what was to come later. But for now, I was just happy to have made it through and was eager to help the guys get through as well. With me and Finnegan through, it was time for Chris to take his 2014 JKU named Ripley through one of its hardest challenges since it left the assembly line in Ohio.
Nice, buddy. Why didn't I think of that? I can't explain to you how much fun I'm having right now.
Chris, who up to this point had had the least amount of crawling practice, was doing great. As anxious as he was, his slow and steady demeanor and focus on his spotter kept him moving over the rocks with very little issue.
Perfect. Slider.
Yep.
Just a little bit. Pull up, park out of the way.
Lance and his 86-inch wide B-Raptor was next. Now, Lance had watched just about every B-Raptor Rubicon video ever made before coming into the Gatekeeper, and none of them made him feel comfortable. One of the reasons he bought the B-Raptor was the beefed-up steering rack and the very beefy control arms. Both of those things would make a huge difference for him over the next few days. But with a good spotter and a good line, even a wide IFS like his Bronco had little to no problems getting through Gatekeeper.
Attaboy! What do you think, Chris? First Gatekeeper, how'd it go?
A little bit, yeah, I definitely, feel the nerves, but I gotta say, having a really good spotter helps.
You feeling any better about the Rubicon Trail after hitting the Gatekeeper and doing it like a pro?
As long as Mike is with us.
Well, I'd be there for today,
Oh.
so I think by the end of today we'll have a good feeling.
Yeah.
Wheels on rock. Always look out for the small rock that has paint on it.
Having the undercloak protection system gives me a little peace of mind on this trail.
A little peace of mind? How about all of the peace of mind? I am without metal cloak.
Not really without metal cloak. Mike is metal cloak.
So there's a fun little drop coming up here. It's easy, it just looks ominous.
We had reached what's called the Bowl, a part of the trail just a half mile from where we started. And this was our first look at some of the open spaces of the Rubicon. Granite slab as far as you can see, with forested mountains and lakes in the distance. It was worth getting out and taking an extra look. Before too long, though, it was time to go, and driving it kind of reminded me of some of the terrain we saw in Moab, Utah.
Lance, this is giving me metal masher vibes right now, bro.
100%. We'll pay attention here because there's a little bit of a drop over on the right.
This is like choose your own adventure.
3 different vehicles, 3 different lines. I like it.
Feel like we have the Rubicon to ourselves today.
I can imagine this trail during Jeep Jamboree, lined with vehicles from one end to the other. But that was not the case today. We had plenty of room to stretch our legs as we crossed the granite slabs of the bowl. As we made our way over to what's called Beer Tree, we started climbing the slabs, which were relatively harmless as long as you didn't get too close to the boulders on the side of the trail. Chris had a near miss here, but with a little realignment, passed through just fine. And Lance and his Bronco were basically in cruise control. At this point, we were all getting the feel for the trail and gaining confidence as we went. There was a rhythm to the rocks, swaying me back and forth in the saddle, but pushing me ever forward. We were still being slow and cautious because all it takes is one careless moment on this trail and you might have a big problem. But with Mike in the lead, it kept us at ease as we headed toward the next named obstacle.
And we're coming up on Whalebones, one of my least favorite for a 2-door.
Seems to be the problem, Mike.
Short wheelbase.
Whalebones can be a problem. It's a very steep rock face with just enough holes for your tires to fall into to make finding traction hard.
Well, Will, you lifted that back driver's side tire.
I thought I was following Mike's line, but I think I split his line. You guys, I would not recommend taking the line that I did. That was the fool's line.
Yeah, Will.
Hard driver.
Chris's line showed us just how unsettling Whalebones can be when he let off the gas and lifted his front tire off the rock. But with a little skinny pedal, Chris was up and over, no problem. However, nothing makes you feel more like a noob like when an old-timer shows up and puts on a clinic while towing a trailer.
Well, that's the other way to do it. It's fantastic.
How you doing back there, Lance? I was born to do this, Chris. Born to do this.
Lance decided to follow the old-timers line, but he couldn't quite get up Whalebones with the ease and aplomb of the guy towing a trailer. Not that any of us could have. We were now officially 1 mile into the Rubicon. Our next stop was the Ellis Creek Bridge, which serves as a marker of sorts for when things get a little more serious.
We're like well into the Rubicon, and it is a total blast. I mean, you know, there's some white knuckle moments. Chris was 3-wheeling there for a second and starting to slide down the hill, and I don't know, it was a little white knuckle for a second, but like for the most part, it's just fun, like fun. And what we've heard is that like the Rubicon is grueling, all rocks all day long, and you get really exhausted. And right now, like, this could change, but I'm not feeling exhausted. I'm feeling like energized by these rocks. It reminds me of the day that Lance and I spent on Metal Masher, and it was like we were on that trail for like nine hours or something, and we just loved it. Just loved getting out and spotting and solving problems, and I don't know, I guess I'm just saying I'm having a lot of fun.
I'm in heaven, guys. In heaven.
All right, starting to enter just a little dry stream bed for a bit. All right, I just passed the Rubicon Trail mile marker 1.5. 11 more to go.
Wow.
All right, I'm rolling up on Ellis Creek Bridge right now. I'll stop on the other side.
What's your assessment on our time?
It's a little slower pace. You want to get to Buck Island, but you don't have to. There's lots of cool camp spots along the way.
As we crossed the Ellis Creek Bridge, we were ready to stop for a snack. After all, we'd already been on the trail for 4 hours.
Mike, you've been our sage leader, and I know that we only have you for a little bit longer today before you got to go back to the real world. Here, how would you rate this part of the trail versus the rest of the trail? Like, have we done hard stuff? Is it kind of like the hard stuff is coming?
You've had enough thrown at you to give you a good taste of what's to come. You won't find anything harder than some of the stuff we've been through, except for maybe a little sluice, which is optional. Soup bowl is optional. I usually just wheel around it. Cadillac Hill has some challenges, but it's nothing like you haven't already seen. So it's just a lot of this. It's just a slow and low and just kind of pick your way through the lines.
Yeah.
So no, you guys are doing great. I mean, no carnage, and we've only gone 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
When Mike said, "Hey, I'm at the 1.5 mile marker," I was like, "Huh."
One of the reasons that we don't want to rush is because we enjoy sitting on a rock and eating blueberries. You haven't eaten in 4 days.
I have to say too, like probably the best advice we've gotten so far was like, I think Mike said it earlier on, and then a few other people at Metal Cloak said just, don't take anything for granted, and
Don't take anything for granted.
Granite. Oh, you beat me to it.
One thing I will add, and Lance brought this up, he's like, what can we do to help support the trail and the nonprofits and stuff? So this is all managed by the Rubicon Trail Foundation. And yeah, you can always donate to them, support their causes and stuff. But while you're out here on the trail, respect the lands, pick up your trash, pick up other people's trash, stay on the trail, get to know, tread lightly, leave no trace, all those principles, and support them. Educate others, because not everybody knows them. But we want to leave this just how we found it, if not better. So just want to put my little public service announcement in there, because it's very important how we keep this open to off-roaders.
We are going slow, but I love this pace. I love that it's a nice day. There's nobody really on the trail today, and so we're just going to keep going slow and see how far we get.
At 4 hours and less than 2 miles in, if there were a schedule, we'd have been behind. And making it to Buck Island Lake was looking more and more unlikely. But we gave it a shot anyway.
I'm at the base of Walker Hill, so I'll wait here.
What you doing, Lance?
Picking up trash from somebody else. Trail maintenance.
It's funny, this is what Lance does when he comes over to my house, too. Found a bottle of Dr. McGilligutty's Intense Cherry. Look, if you're going to leave trash, it's like, leave something cooler than that. Come on.
We were now climbing Walker Hill, named after Chuck Walker, who spent many years spotting people on this hill during Jeep Jamboree.
Did you guys make it up over that little rock climb there? Lance is coming up now. Hang out on it while I watch Chris maneuver. Well, if I wasn't addicted to this before the Rubicon, I am officially addicted to this.
The hill is long, steep, full of rocks and granite slabs, and lulls you into thinking you can go straight up, which is not the case.
See my line there, Will?
Yeah, I did. I thought you V-notched that, but you decided to take it off camera.
I've gotten stuck over on the far side a little too many times, so I've started going up that rock a little bit.
Even though this part of the trail isn't as hard as it used to be, I can still see why people value a good spotter here.
I'll come back and spot you. So I've gotten hung up here a couple times, so keep an eye on the line. Hopefully this one works.
The last stretch of Walker Hill has a set of boulders that look like you should hit them head on, but Mike chose to take a line on the left side of the trail, and I followed suit. I'm rolling on 38-inch Ditto trail grapplers and a 3.5-inch middle cloak suspension, but these rocks were just high enough to come up and say hello to my skid plates.
Chris, when Will scrapes, I know we're screwed. Yeah, that's about right.
Chris and his JKU made the climb no problem, but like many moments on this trip, we were worried about Lance's B-Raptor and his IFS control arms catching on the way up. But just like we'd already seen, a good driver and a good spot make all the difference.
Coming up, nothing major. There's definitely a line on the right. Kind of keep your eye on the Jeep in front of you. You'll probably start to get a little cell service right here. This is cell phone tree.
We were now climbing past Cell Phone Tree, which is the only place you can get a cell signal on the Rubicon, but we were more concerned with a couple random boulders in the middle of the trail. Unfortunately, at the end of this obstacle, we were about to lose our trail guide. Thank you so much, man, for being our guide, for being our trail guru.
Yeah.
And just being an awesome dude.
Good hanging out with you guys. You guys are doing great. You don't need me.
Well, I mean, it depends on who you ask.
I mean, I will say spotting is, I mean, that's why we go with people, right? Just have a spotter. Luckily, I know this trail enough to know where to put my tires.
Yeah.
But yeah, just take your time, get out, scout it. You got a whole couple days ahead of you. So.
All right, man, when we're done, I'll text you how it went.
Yeah, I expect it.
All right,
Be safe,
dude.
enjoy it. I mean, the Rubicon is, like I said, people can do this in a day. But that's no fun.
Yeah.
Like, take your time, take in the sights, stop, smell the roses.
It's an adventure. Awesome. All right, dude. Well, safe travels.
All right, guys.
See you next time.
We'll see you.
Thank you, sir.
Be safe.
Looking back, this is the moment the Rubicon truly began for us. Because with Mike no longer leading us through, we were now completely on our own.
Hey, Will, could you spot me just real quick?
I'll be right there.
We just have a little bit of boulder field here that I'm going to help Chris spot. I came down, but I scraped a little bit, and I have a little more clearance than he does, so I'm going to try to help him out. Keep that steering wheel right where it is. Yep, keep coming. It's IFS right there. You're going to clear it here. You might scrape your bumper on the way down. Just ride it real slow. There it is, you're fine.
We were now arriving at one of the most famous obstacles in the US, a nasty, gnarly piece of work called Soup Bowl. This obstacle is mostly bypassed, but for those who wish to give it a try, this very steep, off-camber, low traction, and narrow ledge stair step often caused people to wish they had never done it. A fact we were immediately reminded of when we pulled up and saw a rollover being towed off the trail.
Oh no, rolled too. Yeah. Jeez, man, I'm so sorry.
Tipped it over. It's all part of the game, right?
No kidding. Jeez.
Part of the adventure.
Oh my God.
Well, at least they're in good spirits about it.
So we've arrived at Soup Bowl, and I promised myself I would give this thing a shot. Seeing it in person is intimidating, and seeing it in person and then seeing a Jeep that's just rolled over being towed out is not a great omen either. So I'm a little nervous to try this thing, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? With images of rollovers playing alongside my memory of every successful Soup Bowl climb I'd watched in the last 4 months, I approached the rocks. There are 2 ledges that you have to climb in order to get up, and your rear tires sink down into a hole, stretching your wheelbase to the point where traction is hard to get. There's a crack in the rock I'd seen people put their tire in and leverage to get grip, which is what I was trying to aim my front driver tire for. My problem was clearance. Finnegan was resting on rock sliders and not the tires, so when I tried to get traction, all I got was wheel spin.
Your front driver doesn't have any traction or any grip. I think it's because you're teetering on your rocker, or not your rocker, your rocker guard.
There you go. Turn it. Keep coming. No, turn faster.
I decided to just stay put and see if I could get lucky. But the truth is, we were all out of our league on Soup Bowl. And that's when a total stranger walked over and changed everything.
Yep. Go straight up the wall. So when you get your front tire up on the wall, turn it. Okay.
Thank you. We were thinking that he had to pivot pre-wall on this.
You're really close to getting that notch though in your drivers. Like you're kissing it, but you.
Okay.
I now had a new game plan. My goal was to get my front driver tire all the way up on the second ledge and not worry about trying to get my tire in the crack I'd aimed for earlier. But this meant I'd be angled up higher and more off camber than I was earlier. And even just getting up to the second ledge wasn't easy. I couldn't see anything but sky, and my ears were filled with banging and scraping sounds. I was literally holding onto the side of Finnegan to keep from falling out the other side, and to my amazement, I started making progress. That is, until I got stuck in almost the exact same spot I'd been before. But this time, I tried something different.
Just drive up it, just like a good douse at the bottom, and then come out of it as it hits the ledge. All
Now I had traction, but Soup Bowl can still flip you over from this position, so I wasn't done yet. To get through it, I had to drive along the ledge and try to make the corner, but that's easier said than done, at least without taking some body damage.
Got it. Way out.
Smash a fender? I had pinned my rear driver fender against the rock wall, but it was nothing a little bit of leaning couldn't help.
The tire's about to you're about to hit the... Oh, stop, back up.
Back this tire and then onto this thing and try to bring this side up. So pull forward, turn driver. Now start turning driver.
That's doing it. I can straighten it out.
That's the slider. That's the slider. We're starting to pivot. Yep, the slider. It's pivoting you.
In the end, it wasn't pretty, but that didn't bother me in the least.
How's the hell of a spot?
Yeah, buddy! Oh, first time, man. Soup Bowl. That was awesome. Holy cow. It took a professional to come spot me to do it. And I think my seat is wet now with all kinds of different things. Bro, thank you so much, man. There's no way I could have done that without you.
That's okay.
It's all about the spotter.
I appreciate it. You guys have a great day on the Rubicon.
Thanks, man.
Safe travels.
Dude, that is what it's all about right there. Wheelers helping other wheelers, off-roading helping off-roaders. And he was just here. They're just taking a break, and he decided to come over here and like make it happen for me. So I'm super stoked right now. Oh yeah! I cannot believe I got that my first try. Wow. Let's be clear. There's no way I could have done that if that guy hadn't have spotted me. He was so cool. And he knew, like, clearly he knows how to wheel and he knows how to rock crawl, which I don't. Like, I'm still such a noob. And he was able to kind of help me, coach me through it and talk about how to use the throttle and you know, make sure that I was sliding on my slider and not crushing my fender. And wow, I'm just super, super excited about this. I don't know. I feel like I just won the World Series or something because I got a Soup Bowl on my first try. I can't believe it. So anyway, let's go see the rest of this trail. But from here on out, it's a win. It's a win, baby. After a quick damage inspection on Finnegan, which just showed a few scratches, we headed down Axle Hill towards Little Sluice, another famously treacherous part of the trail. But I was still in the afterglow of Soup Bowl and feeling grateful we practiced before coming here.
Clearly, if it wasn't for that guy, there's probably no way I would have got up. But I also had to drive it up. I only felt confident doing that because of all the seat time we've put in already.
So Will, you're heading into Little Sluice.
There are 3 sluices on the Rubicon: Old Sluice, Little Sluice, and Big Sluice, and they all present you with problems. I was warned by a local not to try Little Sluice once he learned I was on stock axles, and looking back, this was probably good advice. Many people have had to leave the trail after attempting Little Sluice. And more than anything else, I wanted to complete the Rubicon.
Okay, so we are taking the bypass of Little Sluice. And that's because I stopped and talked to a local and he made it sound like I was crazy to do that on stock axles, which I need to listen to the locals when they tell me stuff. And I just walked it and it looks very doable, but there are a couple problems. And those problems, I think, being a first timer and being tired, I think those problems are probably not smart problems to try to tackle at the moment. So I am going to take the bypass, connect back to the trail, and keep going.
Are you doing Little Sluice, Will?
I think no.
Fair enough.
So I headed up the bypass, which, just like everything else on the Rubicon, wasn't easy.
I'm right behind you, Will.
The short bypass we took is a steep climb up and then a steep drop back down.
Towards this rock. Yep. Put your tire, your front tire, just over that rock. That's gonna give you a better line to come down in the back. Yeah, now straighten it out right there. Straighten it out, straighten it out, straighten it out. Straighten it out. Yeah, straighten it out though. As you come up, straighten it. Now go passenger. Here you go. Yeah, crank it passenger so you can skip that in the back. You don't hit that rock in the back, but yeah, you're done, dude. Nicely driven. That was a hell of a bypass, yeah?
It's not an easy bypass.
There's a drop here I just snuck up on.
We were now descending Merlin's bench, which turned out to be a bit tricky. It pitches you down at 20 to 25 degrees, then swings you off camber by 10 to 15 degrees. So it feels like you might do a cartwheel down the bench. This obstacle wasn't even on our radar before we started and was one of many that took us by surprise. After Merlin's bench, we snaked through some trees and we're now close enough to Buck Island Lake to try to make the push to get there.
I think we're almost at V-Notch. Yeah, it's just past Mud Lake here.
Ready for V-Notch?
Yeah, I think so.
V-Notch is one of the few obstacles we drove that turned out to be easier than we thought. It still needs all of your attention, but we were able to draw from the preparation we'd done in the Idaho Owyhees. This is one of the few obstacles where the Bronco's width actually helped. Lance was able to reach across the rocks to keep his tires in a great position. As we started climbing up a massive granite rock face with Spider Lake to our east, we entered private land for the first time. But the owner of this land is the Rubicon Trail Foundation, and the reason they bought the land was to preserve the trail and keep it open.
Whew, man, I am beat. We're 4 miles in. I don't know, we're maybe a mile from Buck Lake or something like that. But here's the thing about the Rubicon. You do like a named obstacle and you're like, yes, I did a named obstacle. And then the next thing that happens is like even harder than the named obstacle. And you're like, no one told me about this. And by the end of the day, you're just exhausted because it's like everybody says it's grueling and it's relentless, and it really is. It's all the in-between stuff that wears you out. So anyway, we're about to go onto Indian Hill. I've heard that it's kind of off camber, stair-steppy, which is not my favorite stuff, so I'm gonna have to like take my Xanax before we hit that thing. But sooner or later, we're gonna make the Buck Lake. Even if it's midnight, we'll make it there. Make it to the Buck Lake. Boom. Buck Lake. Yeah. Or bust. Buck Naked Lake. You know why they call it Buck Lake, right? It ain't because they saw deer.
A little bit driver as you come down. Get it out, driver.
We were now approaching the entrance to Old Sluice, one of the last remaining relatively untouched parts of the Rubicon Trail. But it's an optional route, and from our pre-trip research, we had already decided not to take it. So instead, we started descending down the big granite slabs of Indian Hill.
For me, this has been the most fun section so far.
It's been the most relaxing section.
I mean, it helps that it's like a nice time of night. It kind of reminds me of Moab a little bit.
Yeah, it's very Moab-esque. This trail's like a bowl of ice cream after dinner. I just dropped off a cliff. That was not fun for the Raptor. Lock it up. My steering wheel just coated in like sweat and dirt.
As we came to the end of Indian Hill, we were now just outside of Buck Island Lake, but the sun was setting and we were losing daylight, and we were mentally drained. It was here I was quickly reminded that every rock needs your attention, even if you're feeling tired. And there's no such thing as cruise control on the Rubicon Trail.
Oh yeah, you got it. There you go. Well done, sir.
So after 10 hours on the trail, we finally made it to Buck Island Lake.
Lance, do you remember where Mike recommended we go on the lake?
Yeah, I've got a push pin.
Is that where you're headed?
Yeah.
The approach to Buck Island Lake is beautiful, especially in the waning light of a summer day. The lake feels like a point of refuge, and one of Mike's parting gifts to us was some recommended camping spots in that area. We decided not to try to camp on the lake, but instead worked our way around to a more secluded spot that might give us more privacy. After all, we're Idaho boys who are not used to crowds or camping next to people. So as much as we would have loved to be on the water, we chose the trees instead. Lance made steaks while we set up our tents, and as the moon came up, I finally had a chance to sit down and reflect on the day we'd had.
Well, we made it to Buck Island, and wow, what a day. I don't really know what to say. It like hasn't sunk in yet. I still don't feel like I'm on the Rubicon right now, even though I am. I mean, everything was just so intense today. Like, just right off the bat, it was like focus, 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 focus. And I think, we took some time to enjoy it a little bit, but it just hasn't quite soaked in. I wonder if this is one of those experiences that like soaks in after it's over, you know? So we found a nice little camp spot at Buck Lake. I call it Buck Naked Lake. I think that's a better name for it, but we'll technically it's Buck Lake, I think, or Buck Island Lake or some. Anyway, it's a great little campsite. We're tucked away in the woods. There's tons of people around here, but there's not a lot of people around us. So that gives us a feeling that, just a little bit more privacy. There's water everywhere, which is so nice. Like I got to rinse off in the stream and just really clean all the dust off from today, so I'm feeling a lot better. There's some bugs out, so we have mosquito repellent and all that stuff on, but just had steaks. We're having steaks every night. I didn't film it because we're so tired. Lance made the steak so fast I didn't even have time to get my camera out. Now we're just gonna sit. I think we're just gonna like sit around and kind of like process the day, have some whiskey, look at the water, watch the moon rise, watch the sunset, and process all the stuff that happened today. Thoughts on the day?
This was such a stressful day. But you know what? I would not trade it for anything. Being out here with you guys, all of us becoming more confident in our rigs. Lance and I were talking about we just kind of feel like we just saw such a huge event today with you tackling and conquering Soup Bowl.
Oh my gosh.
That was so this is the way I thought it was going to go. Will's going to try it 3 times and then be like, okay, time to move on. But dude, you committed, and that gentleman from Tennessee coming in and spotting you.
Yep. He gave me hope.
Yeah. And the thing was,
he gave you a good spot.
He gave me a great spot. And because I could have said, no, I'm backing out. But
there was
something about him, gave me confidence.
Very confident.
Gave me hope. And I was like, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah. And there was a couple of times
which makes a good spotter.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and that's another thing too, is like all of our, I feel like we're pretty good spotters going into this, and we've just gotten better and better and better.
Yeah.
So, and I know I appreciate you guys for spotting me, because I'm the one that asked for a spotter 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. It's so good, man. We're such good teamwork today.
Yeah, and I really don't feel bad about it, because you guys, you're just there and to hold my hand and take care of me. But anyway, this has just been such an epic day, and I'm so glad that we're doing it, and I can't wait to see what we got for tomorrow.
Yeah. How was it today for you, man?
It was everything I thought it would be.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Well, I've been thinking about this for decades. There were phases of the day. We had the Mike phase.
Yeah.
And then it was the post-Mike phase.
It was the sink or swim phase.
Right. But then it became
Good way to put it. Sink or swim.
the us phase, where we learned each other. I think we all grew individually. You know what I mean? So we're all in a different vehicle, different technology, a different situation. And I think we all crushed it.
What are your thoughts on tomorrow? You ready for tomorrow?
Yeah, we're gonna get our asses kicked again. This trail just takes that one time.
Yeah.
Right? So we just have to be on point. You have to be in the now all day long.
You can't take your eyes off it.
You cannot allow your mind
to be elsewhere.
Yeah.
Wow. So today was all of the things. All of the things happened today, feels like, and we're still processing. So I think we're just gonna sit around, maybe drink some whiskey, tell some inappropriate jokes, and unpack what happened today. And hopefully tomorrow will be all of the things as well. So good night.
The morning at Buck Island Lake felt almost completely opposite from what we'd experienced on the trail the day before. Things were calm. The Sierras looked majestic and inviting, with no malice or threat of broken axles. And the lake was incredible. The water was calling to all three of us, and it was a call we'd have to answer later in the day. But for now, our morning at camp was focused on preparing for another challenging day on the trail.
Well, good morning. It is a perfect morning. Like, it's like we're in the Rubicon Matrix or something. There's like hardly any bugs. The temperature is absolutely perfect. It's quiet, relatively quiet forest. I mean, wow, what a great night. What a fantastic morning. We're about to hit the trail. Our goal today is to make it to Rubicon Springs. And I think on the map it's less distance, although we don't know what that means on the Rubicon. Like, it could be less distance and take longer, who knows. And so we're gonna be heading out here in just a few minutes. We're basically packed up. We're just doing a check underneath of the rigs just to see if anything came loose, we need to retorque, anything like that. We got this nice little rock over here that we're kind of taking turns propping the Jeeps up on so we can get under there and just take a quick look, see if everything's okay. I imagine everything's okay for me because I've got the metal cloak skid plates underneath, but Lance found something. I'm gonna go check in with Chris, see if he found anything. And after we get that check done, we're gonna hit the trail and keep this thing going. Rubicon Day 2! So you've been under the Bronco looking at potential damage. What have you found?
Everything looks amazing. I mean, it's taken damage so well. It's crazy.
Look, I had a dream last night that all my control arm bolts were popping out.
That is such a dream you'd have on the Rubicon.
Yeah, it was. Like, the bolts were literally dangling, and people were like, oh, it's fine. Keep your fingers crossed, everything's okay.
Chris, you find anything?
No, actually, well, my factory skids are a little bit deformed, but I guess they've been renovated.
Rubicon Renovations. Yeah. If you like broken stuff, it's the place to shop.
So, no, it's funny because there's a few places where, like, you know, metal's been ground down a little bit, but not like anything that's like gonna cause any failures or anything like that that I can see.
Lance and I propped up the 392 on a shelf rock to get easy access to the underside of the Jeep.
Right there.
Take that as a no?
Nah, I can't hear a thing.
Oh, hey, let me do it again. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't hear anything down here.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
Even after all the banging, scraping, clanging, and knocking from the day before, Finnegan just had a few scrapes. So we headed back to the granite rocks of the Rubicon. We were in really good spirits, thinking that we had done some pretty hard stuff so far and had leveled up our driving, which was true. But the Rubicon wasted no time letting us know there was a lot more to come.
We have a sign here that says, ladies one direction, men the other. Even though I get the joke, even though I think ladies wheel just as good as men do. But it's basically like, take the easy road and be a wuss, or take the hard road and be macho. And I'm telling you, that looks like just not the way I want to start my morning.
I think there are probably plenty of women who could do that run no problem.
Okay, well, let me know if I'm about to do something stupid.
Time for that is long gone.
And just 5 minutes from camp, we ran into a group of wheelers in the middle of a trail fix. One that, quite frankly, looked like it could happen to anyone at any point on this trail.
So yeah, what's going on, dude?
I'm trying to crawl up one of these rocks, and it snapped the drag link right at the ball. So we just took it off, and we're gonna weld it back up. Hopefully it works.
So this is like as I'm finding out when we got to camp here, like a pretty common sound and sight, like people like getting here and then fixing their rigs when they get here.
Yeah, well, try not to fix the rig if you don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta. continue on the trail. So
Yeah.
we came out that way and we went Cadillac Hill and then we're going back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I was just driving this way real quick and then went up the rock and snapped it.
It happens so fast, man. It happens so fast. Well, good luck, dude.
Thank you.
And on literally the same rock that snapped his tie rod, Chris cut his diff.
Guys, I think I'm turtled.
Well, Chris, we're just driving over the dam, man. What happened?
That happened. Dragging a diff.
So you got no traction in the front?
No.
Are you locked up?
Chris was turtled on his rear diff, which meant he was basically high-centered with no traction on his tires. Any contact with the ground he had was light and powdery dirt, which gave no purchase to his tires. So we decided to grab line from Finnegan to pull him back off the rock.
Well, this is a good moment to plug quality recovery gear. So Factory 55 is a great sponsor of the channel, and they have a whole kit in the Sawtooth recovery bag. It's got basically everything you need for stuff like this. So it's got soft shackles and D-rings, and all this stuff that when you're doing just a little bit of recovery work, it won't break on you.
Ready when you are.
You in neutral?
In neutral.
Okay, I'm tightening the winch line, and I'm pulling.
I have the Warn VR Evo 10 winch, which has pulling power of 10,000 pounds, and Chris's Jeep fully loaded is probably around 5,000 pounds. So even without using a snatch block to increase the pulling power, I had no trouble getting him off that rock.
Well, that was pretty easy. Took us about, I don't know, 3 minutes. Yep. You're unstuck. All right. And that, folks, is good morning from the Rubicon Trail. Well, it's a heck of a way to start the morning. It's like, wake up, drive 100 yards from camp, and wham, we're pulling winch, we're scraping diffs, we're climbing straight up rock walls. I guess at this point I'd expect nothing less from the Rubicon.
Whether we were ready or not, the Rubicon was already pushing us beyond what we'd done the day before. We thought we were in for a nice drive along a beautiful lake, but what we got were bigger rocks, harder obstacles, and one very big reality check.
Just like the fajita, I write what I live. My life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow. Just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam. I'm feeding the meter.
Easy peasy, man. No problem. That was great. Good driving.
Yeah, well, great spotting too. So thanks, guys, for holding my hand yet again.
I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot the shot. I'm coming in hot.
We were literally only about 1,000 feet from where we started this morning, but they say constraint drives innovation, and we weren't about to tuck our tails and run, so we leaned in and worked the trail with each other. And what we started learning was that what seemed ridiculous in any other setting was starting to feel normal on the Rubicon. Even the wide B Raptor with its IFS was being pushed, but was able to handle this stretch of the trail.
Bravo. Bravo.
Bravo.
The three of us felt a bit like we'd been punched in the face this morning. The sun was starting to get hot, and we were all covered with dust. But after a few more climbs, we found ourselves on a granite slab overlooking the lake and realized we were on vacation.
Okay, we have made a last-minute change of plans. We just noticed that there's no one else here. Everyone has left. And this is a beautiful area, beautiful lake. And so we're going to go swimming. And then we'll see about running the rest of the Rubicon. Whew, that was awesome. We swam that little island over there and just hung out for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. The water is like one of the warmest mountain lakes I've ever swam in. It's probably like, I don't know, we think like 65 degrees, Chris?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, 65 degrees, just feels like so refreshing. Not bitter cold like you'd expect. This is a total win. Great idea. I'm so glad we did this. And I'm clean now too, cleaner. So now we're gonna head back up to the rigs, maybe have a little lunch, and get back on the trail.
We had effectively gone nowhere today. We were about 2,000 feet from where we started, and after the slow start, winching, and maneuvering, it had been about 5 hours. Now, some folks watching this might think that's ridiculous, and they might be right, but we were going slow on purpose, being careful, and most importantly, having a really good time.
How close am I on my passenger?
Not close. Got inches. You're good.
The thing about this section of trail is that there aren't even any named obstacles. This is just the space between Buck Island Lake and Big Sluice. A lot of trails are rated for their toughest obstacles, but we were finding on the Rubicon, everything felt like an 8 out of 10. So even though we'd practice on tougher obstacles, it was really just a few at a time. So this felt like a conveyor belt of problems to solve.
Are you good?
I think so.
Chris, you want to try to get a really wide turn here because it's a tight squeeze between two boulders.
And this is when we discovered that the obstacles we'd done this morning were just a warm-up for the few that were next.
I don't know how deep this drop is.
If Fins and Things in Moab feels like a Disney ride, these felt more like a Rickety County Fair carnival ride. While 32 degrees of pitch was a new record for me, Finnegan held strong and came down with no problems. Chris made his peace with God and followed down the boulder, but his JKU Ripley also did great. And this is the moment when I think I started to lose my mind. Obstacles stopped looking hard to me. In fact, I started looking for harder and harder lines to the point that I left the main trail just to try the hard way. For fun, I guess.
So I'm not sure what this obstacle is called. It looks kind of gnarly, and I might be making a big mistake here, but I'm gonna try to drive it because I don't know. I don't even know why. I think something's like I'm catching the bug right now or something.
So, for better or worse, I gave it a shot.
Now I can't see any rocks, so all I'm doing is watching Lance. Oh, and Lance almost fell. I thought I was coming up on this line. I thought this was gonna be too steep. You think I'm gonna make this?
You're gonna come, I'm gonna turn you. Fast. Watch.
Okay. Telling me that you gotta weigh up.
Your rear passenger control arm is on that big rock. Oh, you're sliding over. You're about to hit your drive line.
Am I hitting the drive line?
You're very close. Yeah, you are. You're rubbing it. Okay, you're off of it now.
Drive shaft.
He was on the drive shaft, yeah. Like actually right at the yoke.
Yeah, not a good place.
No, no.
Okay, I'm gonna try. Let me come up on this side, Lance. I think that's the easier one.
We had a miscommunication.
I thought you convinced me not to do this line.
Your tie rod.
Can't come forward. Oh, go back. Turn this way. Turn passenger. I'll try it. There you go.
Yikes. Yeah, I think I need to drive around to that spot. It's pretty steep. Okay. Oh baby. Woo! This is feeling a little spicy. Worry about that bumper.
Bumper's not
All right. Nice. Okay, let's try this again.
All that work was just so I could back down and try again from the other side.
Okay, take two.
This time I was coming up on a line that had shorter ledges and therefore less opportunities to scrape or break anything on the way up.
Just watching Lance.
The tricky part in getting up were the ruts lined with jagged rocks that seemed to be trying to puncture my sidewalls. There was also a sharp left-hand turn which I needed to back up in order to make.
He's got about 0 inches. Actually, you're gonna fall.
It's okay, I can do it from here.
Yeah, you'll just very gently drop. Okay, there you go.
Luckily, my Nitto trail grapplers have great sidewalls and plenty of grip to get me through rocks like this.
I made it to the top of the rock. Now it's just about getting off the rock.
This is one of those moments when you think to yourself, have I lost my mind? And as I said earlier, the answer is maybe I had. And maybe the 32-degree pitch I had come down earlier gave me some extra fortitude, but as my tires stretched down this rock formation, I felt cool, calm, and had a smile on my face, even though I was now hanging off of a cliff, dangling by my diff.
Oh, I see his pumpkin. Oh, there it is.
Is your pumpkin?
At this point, I became grateful to my friends who allow me to make bad choices from time to time in the name of fun.
I see you smiling, that's a good sign.
Good friends on the trail truly make all the difference.
Oh man, dude, that was awesome.
Nice drive.
We did it.
Nice
I was thinking that was probably a bad decision at some point, but once you're on top, you gotta just come down.
Yeah, you gotta do. Yeah, you're coming down one way or the other.
Yeah, you guys were awesome spotting. I love that you guys were consulting a little bit, and
yeah,
I felt very taken care of. So, thanks, dude.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow.
Wait a minute, where's your cigar?
Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse.
Okay, so we have a change of plans. Instead of doing Big Sluice today and going to Rubicon Springs, we have decided that we just found an awesome campsite on the lake, at the very end of the lake. There's nobody around. It's off the trail enough that we're not gonna get bothered by people coming by the trail. And it's really hot and we're tired. We're gonna call this serendipity, and we're gonna go with it. And I cannot wait to show you this campsite, and I cannot wait to put my feet in the water and just literally chill.
Okay, we got everybody in, got everybody level. I thought I was gonna be back here next to the water, but it was just too hard to get level. So I moved my Jeep kind of in front of the other guys. And it's level now, and now I can just relax.
Buck Island Lake sits at about 6,000 feet in elevation just north of the Desolation Wilderness area. It's a man-made lake built back in 1963 primarily for creating hydroelectricity and is fed by the Rubicon River via the Rubicon Reservoir and Rockbound Lake. It's one of the most beautiful mountain lakes I've ever seen. There are granite islands popping out of the water, making me wish I had brought my paddleboard. It's surrounded by the 8,000 and 9,000 foot peaks of the Sierra Nevadas, which gives it a secluded feeling you can only find way up in the mountains. We had a campsite on the western edge of the lake, and we're all more than happy to trade in a long day driving over rocks for sitting in the shade on the waterfront.
I just think it's cool that this is also the Rubicon. It's hard driving, it's rock crawling, it's, just all of the things that we expected it to be, but it's also this, which is amazing.
While Chris and I sat around doing nothing, Lance was busy making dinner, which was steaks, again. And we were not complaining about it.
Lance, perfect. Okay. We hang out with him for more reasons than just how good he cooks steak, but it's really nice that he cooks steak so well.
After dinner, we still had a lot of daylight left, so we decided to hike the first part of the trail we'd be driving tomorrow and see what we'd be in for the next day.
So because we got in early tonight, we decided to just take a little time and walk the trail. So we're on Big Sluice right now. We just have walked down here and we're just checking it out. So far, it's been pretty easy, it looks like. I hesitate to say those words, but I think we can kind of scoot through the first quarter mile or so. And then this stuff's getting a little interesting. But looking at this, this shape of this rock is actually not bad at all because it's so slanted. This is the Sluice Hairpin, and it does look a little gnarly. Got a boulder field to navigate here. So this will probably slow us down a little bit. You can see these rocks, some of them you can tell okay, this is a problem rock because there's clearly a bunch of scraping. That's a problem rock.
And then we're gonna be on driver's side tire on all this.
Oh, I see. Now it's getting interesting. Around the corner here, I see more just kind of freestanding boulders. So that looks a little gnarly, but it looks like there's a path through there. Yeah. I mean, what we're learning about rock crawling
is that it's not about dodging the rocks. It's about getting your tires on top of the biggest rocks that will give you the most clearance to get through the little rocks that will catch your undercarriage, so to speak. Kind of a pain in the butt, as we found out this morning around the dam winching Chris out. It's like it only takes one little rock to catch and you're stuck.
Yeah, or two little rocks. If you kind of look back, like it's still not...
It looks pretty mild.
It's a rocky road.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a rocky road.
But up ahead, we have some significant boulders, and it looks like you kind of have to weave between them a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, this one looks like a tight squeeze.
In the Raptor, that's going to be super tight.
You can tell there's tire marks on both sides, which means that
yeah,
it's a tight squeeze. Yeah, but I don't see a lot of paint marks.
No.
That's good. There's a little scrapage there, but that's not too bad. Yeah. Little scrapage there. That's not too bad. Whew. So here's a big boulder I have to avoid, but you know, there's plenty of room to drive around these things. It's just, you know, it just gives you a little bit of less room for error as you're going by. You don't want to lean into one of these boulders. It almost looks like someone dropped these boulders here. It looks like they've been placed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the big ones?
Yeah. It almost looks like a landscaping project from the Rubicon Trail Foundation or something. So the other cool thing about this part of the trail that we're seeing, because we're like actually walking it, we can like look up a little bit, is that the terrain has changed. The forest has changed. There are these mossy trees or moss growing on the bark of these trees. It's just beautiful. And one of the reasons it's beautiful is because it's so different than what we've seen so far. And we've got relatively thick forests. We've been seeing a lot of granite, kind of sparsely forested mountains and things. And so this feels very different.
That's lichen.
It's not moss?
No. And
it's lichen moss.
It's a great fire starter.
It looks lichen moss.
It's called Old Man's Beard.
Oh, okay.
Good fire starter.
The more you know. Okay, we're looking into the woods this way.
So look into the woods this way.
Yeah.
And then look into the woods this way.
It's growing on what, the shady side, you think?
So it's north side of the tree.
Oh, interesting.
So when you're lost and you don't have a compass because you're an idiot, that's one thing you can use to help guide your way.
For those of you who don't know, Lance is a true mountain man who lives off of 2 sticks and a paperclip. So we've just come up to what's called Sawtooth.
But dude, look at, like...
Yeah, there's some scraping.
Diff.
I don't want to underplay this because we're not driving it. And I kind of get why they call it Sawtooth, because it's some jagged-ish rocks. Maybe they may look like a little bit of a sawtooth, but I thought it was going to be like a major obstacle.
The line is right here.
Yeah.
Like it's not over here.
You could definitely catch something if you tried to take the ruts, but it doesn't, honestly, based on like the quarter mile that we drove today in 3 hours, this doesn't look like that big of a problem, but time will tell when we drive it tomorrow. Okay, I see why this is more of an obstacle now that I walked down and I'm looking back up. There are some drops that look like they could throw you off camber if you're not careful.
There's a lot of scrapage going on.
Yeah, it doesn't, yeah, you know, I should not underestimate some of these things. I'm probably downplaying it too much. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right, we're kind of at the end of Old Sluice now. I think it empties out into this spring. Maybe there's like a little trickle of water flowing down here.
Yeah, that's a spring right there.
Yeah, into
That's what's feeding us.
This section of trail that looks like it's all underwater. So the cool thing is, everybody loves water crossings. That's going to be awesome. The scary thing is you don't know what's under there. Like there could be some things, you know, that you don't, it could be deeper than you know. Anyway, it'd be interesting. And then it looks like there's some interesting stuff on the other side of that. Well, we're going to head back to camp now. But I'm so glad we got a chance to walk this section of trail. It gives me so much more confidence tomorrow just because I have seen it. I've got eyes on it. This whole trail, every single rock is a new discovery for us. And so just having a little bit of context for the day tomorrow, I think is going to be really helpful. But for now, we're going to head back to camp and call it a night. Lance, you have something to show me?
That's moss.
Back at camp, we had a whiskey, talked about the trail, and watched the moon rise over the lake. So far, this trail, this experience, had exceeded our expectations in almost every aspect. It was harder than we thought it would be, but it was also more beautiful than we imagined. And while we'd all three become better drivers over the past 2 days, nothing could have prepared us for the day to come.
Well, good morning. It's early. We all agreed to get up at like 6 this morning because we want to get on the trail by 7 to hit it while it's cool, to hit it before there's any traffic on it, and try to make some significant progress on the trail today. It's probably 6:10.
Yeah, it's early.
How do you feel about getting an early start?
I'm feeling great about it. I heard you guys wrestling, and I've been up for a little while too, and I think we all had the same thing in mind, which is to hit the trail as early as possible and make up some time and hopefully avoid the crowds.
Lance, coffee then trail, yes?
Yes.
Like you're packed? You've already picked up trash?
Yes.
Yesterday was like a recharge day, and today is like a charge day. So we're gonna charge the trail, attack the rocks, and see how far we can get. We have no plan for stopping today. If the trail slows us down, we'll find a place to camp tonight. But if it doesn't, we might try to go ahead and finish today. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know we're gonna leave very soon. So our order of driving today is going to be changed up. We've kind of been experimenting with different orders. What we're going to do is we're going to have Lance go first, me in the middle, and then Chris behind. The reason being, it's easier for Chris to see my line because our dimensions for our rigs are similar than it is for him to see Lance's line. And so he said it's really, really helpful if he can see me go first, and then he can kind of take a similar line. And so we're gonna do that.
All right, it's 6:44 in the morning, guys. We got out 15 minutes early. That's a win. Chris, can you see my tires?
Yeah.
Normally when you're overlanding, mornings are spent marveling at the mountaintops or open spaces you've discovered. So I was feeling some emotional dissonance.
Am I on it?
Because here we were, on by all accounts, an epically beautiful trail. But at the same time, I couldn't look up. Because after we took the first turn, the trail needed all of my focus.
Your back passenger shock mount is like really digging into a rock wheel.
Should I readjust some way?
I can go farther, driver.
Yeah, just see if you go a little bit driver. So go driver now.
Okay, gotcha.
Get that rear tire. There you go.
I'm so excited for some open trail here. Hey guys, just soak this in. This is just awesome. All right, boys, we're entering Big Sluice.
And where down we go.
So I just want to let you know you can still stop at any time for a spot, bro. Do not have to be in a hurry.
Thanks, well, appreciate it.
Good, Chris. Good driving, buddy.
All right, now we're getting real.
This is Big Sluice. It's just under a mile of non-stop obstacles. I was optimistic after walking it the night before, but once we hit the rocks with our rigs, I quickly realized how badly I'd misjudged this part of the Rubicon. Lance and his B Raptor were first in line, which meant he was our guinea pig. Even though our Jeeps would likely choose different lines, he gave us the first look at the obstacle called Hairpin. The first problem is a large boulder you have to figure out how to slide around, which Lance did just fine. Then there are more boulders, some of them fixed, but some of them loose, which means it changes a bit after each vehicle passes through, making finding your line really difficult.
This is it. Yeah. There you go. Good, now start to bring it. You got traction. You're good.
That's your muffler. You're almost off of it.
You
the
are
control
stuck
arm.
on your control arm.
Oh, and his rear drive shaft is starting to touch that rock too. Drive shaft.
It's not bad yet, but
No,
can you get back at all?
because if we could,
Get you more passenger, you can get a tire on that thing.
yeah, you're coming, Lance.
So we stacked some rocks right there just to get him up and over his drive line.
Want me to try rocking you or anything?
I'm happy with this.
Okay.
A little bit of a sticky situation. Lance has almost turtled, not quite, but he's pretty turtly, and the rock is laying on his drive shaft, so we want to be really careful. So we're going to pull line, connect to a tree up there, and hopefully get him off that rock without doing any damage. So we pulled rope on the Bronco for the first time on this trip. I grabbed a tree strap and some soft shackles from my Sawtooth recovery bag, while Chris ran the rope up to some good winching trees just above Hairpin. With everything connected, we were ready for the pull. That's it, that's it. Keep going, buddy, you can drive it, you might drive it out. Control arm might catch a little bit. You're through.
What am I rubbing?
Oh,
his rear diff though. Hold.
Paul, stop. Got a rock right here, man. If you could just catch that. Rather than pull rope again, we decided to stack rocks since they were in abundant supply on Hairpin, and see if we could get Lance and his Bronco the few inches of clearance he needed to make it through.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Okay, it's my turn. Try this bad boy. You know, the driver is the most important thing, but I do think the Jeep will have a little bit easier time than the Bronco on this. So me and Finnegan, my Jeep 392, started in on Hairpin. But I'd already seen Lance go through and had some ideas on how to take a few different lines. However, Lance was my spotter, and he was still a little rattled from all the scraping and winching it took to get his B Raptor through. So as I approached, we had to level set our communication a bit. All right, we're good. Dude, I'm not stressed.
I am.
Okay. I was feeling very confident. I'd been learning my rig more and more each day. I trusted my friends and spotters implicitly, and I was actually eager for the challenge of Hairpin.
This is gonna drop. Hey, you're gonna drop.
Lance is an engineer, and he knows exactly how I should be placing my tires.
I'm trying, Lance, it's just...
But I was having issues turning my 38-inch tires on the rocks with no momentum.
No, I'm trying to slide through that. Oh, come on, get up there.
So far, I had managed to get over the rocks that hung up Lance, but because I took a different line, making the corner was going to be a challenge.
Oh, I can't make it. Hold on.
If you had asked me 3 days ago if making a 3-point turn in a boulder field was a good idea, I would have laughed in your face. But by day 3 out here, everything was starting to seem possible. Just like that, I was through Hairpin and could hop out and help Chris get through as well.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
However, he didn't need much help.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Chris and that JKU slipped right through and only needed some light rock stacking to make the corner.
Yes, yes, your disc's clear.
Just a touch.
There you go. Now you're fully clear of that rock.
Day 3, obstacle 1, check. It was both checked off the list and a reality check for what was coming next.
You have no body damage. You're the man.
Well, thanks.
You've been crushing this.
A lot of it's due to the spotters.
Well, that's the same with me.
Yeah, I need a spot to get to the obstacle.
Well, that turned out to be the most challenging obstacle of the trail so far for the 3 of us. We had to stack rocks for everybody. We had to pull line once. We all scraped something, but we all made it through with no significant damage, maybe a few little scrapes here and there. We are being followed by this incredible Ram Charger build. The guy was really nice, really helpful, really jovial. And so now he's just kind of following us down. We'd like to get to a spot where he can pass us. And so we're just kind of not speeding through, but we're not going to stop, you know, and smell the roses as we make our way down this next part, which really doesn't look difficult. It's just kind of a boulder or rock field. Just The trick, I think, is just to go slow and make sure you don't catch any pointy rocks that are sticking up in the middle. So I'm confident we'll be able to come down here and find a place for him to pass us.
If you want to see more of this Ram Charger on 42s, go to Papa Gary Ram on Instagram. It's a fun build, and Gary was a good guy to hang with on the trail for a bit.
So we thought that hitting the trail early would get us ahead of the rush, which is not what's happened at all. It's still like, I don't know, what is it, like 7:15 or something?
Oh, no, it's about 8:45.
Oh, geez, like maybe we've been on the trail longer than we thought.
We've
On the trail for 2 hours. In any case, there's a ton of traffic coming down. We're just parked watching the show right now because we don't want to be a bottleneck for anybody. So, yeah, there's way more traffic on the trail right now than there has been the past 2 days. But it's kind of fun to watch. This is by far the most impressive slider I have ever seen. Look at this bad boy. It's basically just the whole side of the rig is a slider. Love it. Dude,
What is this kid? 9 maybe?
it's like you got a good driver there.
Like a boss.
Chris and I were now at V-Rock, an obstacle that looks worse than it is, but you still have to be careful to squeeze through the right way if you want to avoid some serious scrapes on the side of your vehicle.
Basically just try to get it right down the middle, you'll probably be okay.
Okay, thanks, Will.
My Jeep made it through just fine, and Chris's did even better because it's a bit more narrow than mine.
And that's why it's nice to have a Jeep.
Yes, it
You
is.
squeeze through.
Yeah, just barely.
Just down the trail from V-Rock is the obstacle called Sawtooth, named for the shape of the rocks protruding up from the ground to coax your vehicle off the side of the hill. Something that Chris, as my spotter, very much tried to keep from happening.
Okay, so I'm doing Sawtooth. Chris is spotting me. Last night when we walked it, I was like, oh, this is so, like, why is this even a named obstacle? We'll see if it's a big deal or not. Chris is a fantastic spotter. We have like a way of spotting each other where we never actually need to speak, and we can forecast what's going to happen just with hand signals. And you know, the key, I think, to spotting and receiving a spot is just staying calm and communicating. And you can communicate without talking. And with a spot like that, Sawtooth was zero deal.
No dramas.
Awesome, dude.
I then did my best to return the favor to Chris and got him down Sawtooth with no real problems at all. From Sawtooth, Chris and I did our best to catch up to Lance, who was waiting for us down at the water crossing known as Scout Hole. Scout Hole was named because it's literally a water hole where someone abandoned their old Scout. For us, it was just fun to drive through a little bit of water. This is the section of the trail where the three of us really started to find our groove, both as drivers and as spotters. We had become a team, each playing a different position at different times, but with the same goal in mind. And this unnamed section of the Rubicon required us to bring our A games and stay patient and focused as we rolled, skidded, scraped, and slid our way toward property line.
So we got company, so if there's any place that you can pull off and there's room to pass, that would be good.
We were now waiting just on the side of what's called property line, a narrow chute filled with boulders and trees, named because it occurs just before you leave the El Dorado National Forest and enter land owned by the Rubicon Trail Foundation. We were pulled over both to walk the chute and to let some traffic by that was coming up from behind.
You know, traffic sometimes is part of the fun. Traffic is like, it's part of the show. I mean, if you love to look at off-road builds, come to the Rubicon and just be slow like us, and you will see every kind of build you can possibly imagine. And it is mwah, beautiful. Look at this thing. Beast mode, 100% beast mode. Listen to that engine. Come on. Oh, love this. Oh, this sounds good too. Listen to that.
Have a good weekend, huh?
Hey, you too, man. I love this. I love this rig. You can't pay to go to a car show like this. This is like so rad. That's a long bed, dude. Oh my God. Look at that bed. You got the JK extended build of some sort. Hey guys, straight up JK 4-door. Rolling on, I don't know, maybe it's like a metal cloak lift. Metal cloak lift? Yeah. Love it. Are those
38s or 40s? 38s.
5.7 Hemi.
Nice. Okay, the convoy continues. Oh my God, look at this. Low center of gravity, huge tires, perfect dimensions. This is like a Mad Max build here. Look at that snorkel. Are you taking that thing in water? That's not made to go in water. You just like flood the whole thing. Oh, come on, look at this. The Suburban. Look at that beast of a beast. Dude, this looks like a crazy build. Hey, what was this thing? What was this thing when you started?
That's a K10 Chevy.
Oh, okay.
Single cab short bed.
It's not that much anymore. This looks like, this is almost like a super truck build, dude.
Spaceship.
Yeah, it looks awesome, man. Love it. Oh my God, look at this. What was this? Hey guys. Beautiful. Love it. I want a buggy now. I just want to have one because they have one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you watch them go down this? I was like,
because
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they just kind of bounce around
Like,
from
well,
rock
I'll
to
just
rock.
put it on this giant rock.
Yeah,
and
or
on
if
this giant rock.
I hit a rock, it's only a tube anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, we need to get in the flow of traffic now. So much for our like super slow day where we're just doing our own thing, and you know, it's like there's nonstop traffic. So we're like getting in the flow here so we can actually get our rigs down.
One of the things that all three of us agreed on was that the Rubicon felt like a living being. Because it's so popular, so well maintained, and so full of history, it feels like at times it speaks to you. When you need something, a rock to stack, a winch point, help from another off-roader on the trail, it seemed to appear. The day before, we felt like the trail was telling us to take an early day and rest because today was going to be long and tough. Almost like it was looking out for us and causing us problems at the same time. All of these things could have just been our own way of processing our journey, but it felt very real to us, especially as we navigated property line. Running property line was like an all-hands-on-deck moment for us. There are many different lines you can take, but you also have a limited amount of width on the trail to maneuver. Every decision has a consequence, and there are no clean lines through it. So each of us made slightly different choices on how to navigate it and had slightly different consequences to deal with as a result. Once Lance and I were through, we both focused on Chris, who was still the most tentative of the three of us. But even though he was feeling some anxiety about driving parts of this trail, he didn't let it stop him from making good decisions, remembering he's a very good driver, and staying in the moment with us. As Chris navigated the trail, I couldn't help but feel proud of him as my friend for showing strength even in moments where the outcome is uncertain.
Backdrop. Passenger's about to come down. Coming down, crawl it. Crawl it.
How's the rear?
Coming down. Level. That was your bumper.
You're about to touch. Okay, your front's down.
Slow, 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 slow. Nicely done, Chris.
With Chris through the main chute of property line, our convoy turned the corner and tackled a few more obstacles that were relatively big but easy to navigate because there was so much more room to maneuver. We had one last drop before reaching the bottom of the hill we started at 7 a.m. this morning. As we all came down the last drop of property line, we had a totally new experience on the Rubicon. Flat ground.
Good, now straighten it out and just ride it out straight. Just real slow in the back. Well, that was tricky, but I made it, I think. Barring any unforeseen rocks and scrapes and damage.
I think we're about to hit the Green Bridge, which I think is basically the entrance to Rubicon Springs, isn't it?
On the bridge as we approached was a young family on vacation driving a manual XJ. They were really nice people and serve as a great example of how many different types of experiences you'll find on the Rubicon. The Green Bridge was originally a wooden bridge put in by the county in the 1920s to cross the Rubicon River back when this was one of the main routes between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe. It was replaced in 1939, but not used much during World War II, as folks were focused on the war effort. Then in 1947, when the first Jeeps drove this trail, it was replaced with the current metal structure, and has been rebuilt in 1978, 1992, and 2016.
Not gonna lie, jumping in that water sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah, I was just debating with myself, and I'm like, we need to roll, keep moving. Agreed.
Okay, we just made it across the Green Bridge. I feel like a little breath of fresh air now. Nice and shade. It's like shady and cooler in here. We're getting close to Rubicon Springs, and life is good. The cool thing about using Onyx Off-Road is that I downloaded this map before we left on the trip. Well, I still had cell service, and even though we have no cell service here, not only do I have the map and the route to follow, which is great, even though like once you're on the Rubicon, you're kind of on the Rubicon. But what's really cool is that it has all of these things tagged on the trail already. So like it has most of the obstacles are already tagged. It has, you know, the different parts of the Rubicon labeled really clearly, so we can kind of always know where we are and what's coming up, even though we've never done it before. So that's one of the things I really like about the data that's in Onyx. It's made this trip a little easier, has given me a little more comfort. And so if you don't have Onyx Off-Road, you can get a free 7-day trial. If you want to save 20%, there's a link in the description, V2R20, that can save you 20% on Onyx Off-Road.
Before Rubicon Springs, there was one last tight squeeze that was especially tight for Lance and his 86-inch wide Bronco Raptor. It was a very good thing we folded his side view mirrors in.
Thank you. We are about to roll into Rubicon Springs, and it is like a hot mess out here. It just like, feel sunburned, dusty, and gross. And like right ahead is Rubicon Springs, and it looks like shaded. There's like sprinklers going off. It feels like such an oasis right now. It's also where the masses are converging and camping, which, you know, has pros and cons depending on how much you like the people you're camping with.
To put money in the donation.
You got it?
We're not staying. I'm just going to throw money in.
Gotcha. I'm going to do it too. So we're not going to stay here in Rubicon Springs. We're going to move through and maybe try to finish the trail.
Yeah.
But since we're here, and this is like such a bucket list item for us, and the Rubicon Trail Foundation did such an amazing job, we're going to make our donation anyway, even though we're not staying or using the facility.
Kind of tempted to go stand in front of one of these sprinklers.
Hello, we're just passing through.
Which way do we think the trail is?
Yeah, we put money in the donation box anyway.
I will talk to the caretakers. Hang on.
You too, thank you.
There's a lot of people coming down Cadillac, so.
They're coming this direction?
Yeah.
Caretaker says there's at least 15 rigs coming down Cadillac Hill.
So we should eat lunch here or what?
So we're just pulling over because there's this incredible convoy that wants to get through. And again, this is just like, it's like going to a car show for 3 days, except you're seeing the cars actually being used on the trail. So this beautiful rig has had a fuel pump go out, so they're just towing it out of the way. Really good. This is a great spot to have a fuel pump go out because there's plenty of room to park and stuff. But it looks like we got a lot more Jeeps coming. So we're just gonna hang out and watch the car show.
This convoy was different than the previous ones. This was a group of volunteers bringing in supplies for the annual Jeep Jamboree that was happening the next weekend. Many of them were towing what looked like Bantam trailers, which if you know the history of Jeep, you'll know that Bantam was the company that originally designed the first Jeep for the US military.
Good looking rig, love the trailer. That's a badass JK. And a great trailer. Is it a Bantam trailer? Oh, I bet it's a Bantam then. I love the name of the rig. It's a Rubicon. It looks good, man.
Yeah, he did. He nailed it.
While each Jeep and trailer probably carried something important for the Jamboree, some were more important than others.
Oh, he's got the important cargo. He's got the toilet paper.
We got 62 cases of Coors Light. Plus some Red Bulls and Modelo.
Beer trailer, right there. Look, you can see. Look at that.
Yeah.
Cases of Coors.
At the end of the convoy, Lance walked over and asked if now was a good time to head out, and we got the green light. So we jumped in our vehicles and hit the trail again. We'd had a nice break and met some good folks, but now we were back on the trail and determined to make it to observation point before the end of the day.
Yeah, we're back at it.
Do you want a spot?
Yeah, I'm kind of in an uncomfortable spot.
Lance is on his way.
The problem, though, is that as soon as you leave the campground, there's a return to the granite boulders that slow you down, especially if you're newbies like us. However, just like the prep for this trip, when the three of us put our minds on something, there's not a lot that can keep us from accomplishing what we set out to do. It may have taken us a few rocks to get in the swing of things, but after a bit, we were back in the saddle and kept pushing toward our goal. We felt so close to the end, but still found time to enjoy the ride as we inched toward the stretch of trail that would take us closer to Cadillac Hill.
Pretty nice through here, Chris. That's what I like to hear. I mean, as nice as the Rubicon is to us. You know, I'll still take it.
We were now getting close to the base of Cadillac Hill, and it almost felt like we were tracking prey on a hunt. We knew there was still a serious portion of trail ahead, but the thrill of reaching observation point was drawing us on faster and faster. This part of the trail was easy by Rubicon standards, which made for some really fun driving. And the only thing we really worried about was oncoming traffic coming down the hill, since it's a one-way trek to the top. Cadillac Hill got its name when someone's teenage son took their LaSalle car, which later merged with Cadillac, on a joyride to try to reach the old resort at Rubicon Springs. At the bottom of the hill, the car had issues and was left there, where it's stayed ever since. There's not much left of the old car today, but the name remains and somehow is fitting for this section of trail. After we let a few rigs go by, it was our turn to head up. And the first corner is a bit of a doozy, with washouts pushing you towards boulders on one side, and then more boulders waiting to push you towards the edge directly after that. Your natural instinct is to hug the mountain, but that's where there are more rocks that push you back toward the edge, so it can feel a bit tense.
So I am headed up Cadillac Hill right now, and it's, I would say, psychologically very daunting, because a lot of the rocks are pitch you towards the edge, and you've got like not a lot of room for error, and it just feels like, just does not feel good at all. Right now I'm backing down because someone's coming down the hill. This is like one-way traffic, but I have a spot right back here that I saw. It doesn't feel good to back down a ledge road. They're coming down right now.
No, they're not.
They were coming down. So I'm getting out of the way right here.
What?
Yeah, right here, I can get out of the way.
Lance was not happy about our current situation and went up to negotiate with the folks coming down.
What are we doing, folks? Going up? Okay.
As I got up the trail, I came upon 5 or 6 other vehicles in a convoy.
Thanks, guys. I thought you guys were coming down. I had a spot back there I could have got out of your way.
It's okay.
So
See if you can haul to the turn up there.
Yeah.
And park next to your buddy's white Bronco.
Yeah, okay.
Pull in deep.
Is there anybody behind you guys?
Yep.
Okay.
Holler at them to hold up before that turn, Kevin. There's like 15 rigs with trailers coming down.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And this was the beginning of the most frustrating part of the entire trip. We dodged rigs, crammed into nooks and crannies, and were constantly met with more vehicles coming down. It wasn't anyone's fault, but it was frustrating that we were this close to the end and stuck in traffic. But they say good things come to those who wait, and at this point, we were due.
I'm back on the move.
How many are behind you, Chris?
It's one XJ. It's the XJ that was on the bridge in front of us.
Oh, Roger, okay.
Okay, Chris, I'm gonna drive up this bit, and then I'll come back when I get to a spot that I can get out and spot you. I think there's a couple sections that do need a spotter.
We kept working the trail just like we've been doing for the last 3 days. But as we got farther up the hill, the obstacles became smaller and easier for all 3 of us. But we also had one more convoy coming down.
We got a couple guys coming. They can take this other road.
Hey, Chris, tuck up next to me.
Yeah, I'm right behind you.
Nice truck, man. You got one more? Okay. Good, man. Nice Jeep.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, Will, we're gonna wait for a cement mixer.
What's up?
You're good to go.
All right, that is a cement mixer. That's what that is. Pulling a cement mixer down Cadillac Hill. Whew, it is hot out here. We have been like, there's been, I don't know, 20 rigs coming down. And we're just, I think, just about to reach the top.
We're about to observation point.
This Rubicon journey, like for us, kind of culminates at observation point. So I can't wait to get there.
Can't wait to see it in person.
Ready?
It's gonna be a beauty.
And there we were, observation point, the top of the Rubicon, the three of us together. It almost felt like a dream. Reaching this place is a memory we'll have for the rest of our lives. Not just the trail, but that we did it together.
There it is, right there.
What an adventure.
I know, it doesn't seem real.
I tell you guys, this is like several decades of desire that I never thought it was something that I would ever get to attempt because I didn't have the equipment and the money to do it.
We've been dreaming about this moment. We underestimated it and we overestimated it.
Like thousands of people do the Rubicon Trail. And so part of me was like, well, can it really be that tough? And the answer is yeah.
It's not like the Rubicon was some hard thing that we suffered through either. It was incredible. It was an experience like I've never had off-roading before.
It might look like I'm leaning back on my Jeep because I'm like trying to strike a pose and, you know, look like I'm cool or something, but really the Jeep is the only thing that's holding me up after this trip.
Almost everybody we met was spectacular. They were kind. They were happy to see somebody else on the trail using their rig. You know, they were swapping stories. Sometimes they were swapping tools and parts.
But this means the world to me that I got to do this with you guys. So you two are just, you know, some of my best friends.
I think what I want to do is just relish this moment a little bit, hang with my best friends, and just celebrate reaching observation point on the Rubicon Trail and figuring out what we're going to do later. Like, we're going to get home at some point, but right now I just want to soak it in.
To do it in a Bronco, like, oh, I'm gonna cry. God, dude, we did this Rubicon in a Bronco. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous to most people. I'm like, how am I doing this? Wow. And it was just amazing.
Time for a beer?
Yeah.
Rubicon, boys. Cheers, guys. To the Rubicon. To the Rubicon. To the Rubicon.
This is the Rubicon Trail, a one-of-a-kind off-road adventure that changed us for the rest of our lives. We started this trip as newbies, but with all of the countless rocks, epic beauty, challenges, and triumphs the trail offered us, we became something different at the end of it. I can't quite tell you what it is, but I can tell you that we're better off than we were before.